morning. Tuesday. Today is May 12th, and I hope everybody's having a good week. World's starting to open up a little bit with small businesses and parks and beaches, and even Disneyland's getting involved. Maybe a minute before things feel like it's back to normal, but at least it's a start. Things here at Peak Cycles have been business as usual. Today we're going to talk about more TIG welding, or at least trying to get going with TIG welding. We're also going to be building a bicycle from the frame up. A tail dragger frame specifically. It belongs to a client who collected all the parts and hired me to build it. So I'm going to walk through with you on that. Meanwhile, from the last episode, we talked about this new TIG welder coming with a water-cooled torch, of which I will not be using anytime soon. I'm not doing anything that extreme. I'm talking about 16-gauge bicycle frames. So I needed an air-cooled torch, of which I've since ordered, hooked it up, and ran into another small snag. Go ahead and take a look. My air-cooled torch has arrived, made by CK Worldwide. This was given on to me by a buddy of mine. And this is the adapter that I needed to work with my machine here. This is the torch. Has a 360 pivot, locks into place. Superflex lightweight cable. These are features that, from my understanding, will benefit me down the road. I know I've got a lot of work to do. Let's go ahead and get this hooked up. And we are all hooked up. And when it rains, it pours. Check this out. Power. Good there. Open up the bottle. Good there. Open up the regulator. See that ball? The pedal. Nothing. Not getting any gas flow to the torch. Before moving on to the next segment, I just want to let you know that I searched, Google search, read forums, did a search on YouTube of everything in regards to gas not passing through the torch or not getting to the torch. And I basically went through everything as far as the bottle not being good, the regulator failing, leaving nylon caps in the lines being pinched off, all the way down to the solenoid not working on a brand new TIG welder. That didn't sound right. Just so happens that there was somebody on Instagram who follows the Peak Cycles page who purchased the same TIG welder at the same time. He reaches out to me, random, says, "Hey man, you have any problems with the startup on your TIG welder?" And I replied, I'm like, "Yeah, I can't get any gas to the torch." He goes, "I had the same problem. Have you talked to a tech yet?" I'm like, "No, not yet." He goes, "I can tell you exactly what happened." Ready for this? Take a look. So apparently here's the issue. Everlast does not provide a plug with their welder. It's basically this cable here with raw wires hanging out the end. It's up to you to purchase a plug and wire it up. In this case, the plug is wired up for what's called phase 3, which in most cases is standard. However, they also provide instructions for wiring it up of what's called phase 1, which means white goes to hot and red gets capped off. What's happening is the way it's wired up currently is the pedal is not sending a signal to the solenoid to deliver gas. So let's go ahead and wire this up and cross our fingers. So we're about ready to close this up. Can't see it here, but right there, that's the red. Cut it off. Use this heat shrink tube, which is made for electrical, and heated it up, and it should be good and covered and tucked away. Let's go ahead and give this a try. Who would ever guess that the way your plug is wired up has anything to do with gas getting to the torch? I know I'm new at this, I'm still learning, but to me, logic-wise, it didn't make any sense. Gas to the torch, plug wire. Like, it makes sense now. Like I said, I did a lot of searching. I did Google search and forums and YouTube videos, and I couldn't find anything. I could have called a tech right away, but it's a pride thing. You want to figure out things on your own. I can tell you this. The title of this video is going to say, Everlast, TIG, gas not getting to the torch, troubleshoot. Boom. Meanwhile, I am on track with getting started with TIG welding. I'm not doing much. I'm just burning metal, using the torch, creating pools, trying to get a handle on it, keeping the arc consistent, figuring out settings, all that stuff. Not even dipping yet. So we'll continue with that. Right now, we're going to move on to that bicycle build, and it is what it is. We're going to run through part by part, piece by piece, components, tools, talk about it from the ground up. So let's go ahead and just jump right into it. And we're going to change it up today and build a bicycle from scratch. This is the frame, my Peak Cycles tail dragger frame. Belongs to a client. He pretty much did all the cosmetics and had the wheels built and picked up the parts, and he's hiring me to build it. Just hung it on the stand there using these microfiber cloths so we don't scratch the frame. There are a lot of brands out there, and most of them do more damage than help, as I think they scratch everything. This particular brand is really soft. You got the tires hanging there. These are the wheels built by Mr. Warren Wong. We did a segment on those in the past. Back to the parts over here. We've got the Lawless shifter and shifter mount. Lawless bicycles. Got the chains, headset, stem, chain ring, brakes, caliper, rotor, pedals, cranks. This is the hardware for the rear hub, tubes, dope leather saddle and grips. Those are Peak Cycle goat head bars, and this is a fork that's fabricated by Anthony, Flying Machine Bikes, Springer fork. We'll be going over these park tools today, as we'll be using several of them throughout this bike build. Very handy, highly recommended. Could be costly. I wouldn't expect everybody to run out and purchase all these all at once. Took some time for myself. First tools I ever purchased was this pedal wrench here and this chain brake. And man, was I proud of those. Hung them on the wall. I'm like, yes, I have park tools. Let's go ahead and get started. Now that we have the frame unwrapped, I wanted to touch on this park stand real quick. This one's mine. I've had for quite a few years. It's pretty beat up. I like to use my tools. This is actually one of the lesser expensive stands. Portable, you can take it with you to shows and whatnot. And I must say that having a bike stand will make your life much easier going forward. I'm going to start off by getting this Springer fork assembled, of which I've never done, so we're going to do it together. As soon as we have this done, we'll go ahead and press the headset in the frame and keep going. Before we move on, as mentioned, all the parts and components that are shown there on the table were provided by the client, and we ran into a couple snags. About to share that with you right now. Okay, kids, listen up. This is exactly why I do these videos, and we have some problems. First off, pulled the headset out, and no bearing cups. This particular headset is designed for integrated bearing cups. Usually on BMX bikes, they're built right into the frame. So, issue number one. Issue number two, oil slick. Problem now is we have a wide bottom bracket here designed for that wide shell and a wide rear. And they no longer make this wide of a spindle for these 48 spline spindles. Spline being the number of grooves here. There's actually 48 little grooves here versus an 8 spline. These cranks are designed for the 48 spline. We are using an 8 spline. Profile or any other brand doesn't offer these wide spindles in 48. Third issue, no bearing cups. Again, these are mostly designed for BMX bikes that have the bearing cups already integrated into the frame, so we need bearing cups. Bummer. Just gotta start pressing bearings and get this fork built. However, we can't get most of this on the frame without a bottom bracket or headset. To be continued. As I mentioned a moment ago, this is exactly why I do these videos. And I'm having a good time with it. We're about ready to blow this channel up. You know why? We're not only going to share time with fabrication. That's what this channel is all about. However, we're going to add in bicycle building. A lot of guys out there who are watching this channel, they don't fabricate, but they show interest because they build bicycles. And not everybody knows everything. I mean, you can't just punch in, I want a bottom bracket and receive it and it's just going to work. So we're going to go through, not only with this build, but going forward, talk about each part of the frame and the bicycle. Not that I know everything, just showing you what I know or what I've learned over the years. I started out just like everybody else, building stock bicycles and beach cruisers and choppers over the counter, switching tires, putting on new ape hangers. I'm like, hell yeah, a custom bike. So much fun. So we're going to go forward with that, along with fabrication. We'll share the time. It all depends on how much material I have. If anything, it'll bring on more episodes. That's pretty much going to wrap it up. Hope you enjoyed today's version of what's happening with cycles. And until next time, make it a killer day.